Here's everything you might have missed in What If Episode 7. Once again, it is What If Wednesday, my dudes, and we're back to break down everything you might have missed in Marvel's What If Episode 7. This week, Marvel's God of Thunder takes center stage with a story all about if Thor were an only child. What would happen to everyone's favorite pirate angel if he didn't have that pesky brother Loki to spur his personal growth? Well, he'd be a bit of a handful, as we learn in this episode, preferring to get hammered than to use his hammer to protect others.
Party on Midgard!
The episode itself is jam-packed with Easter eggs, hidden details, and some major implications for the rest of the What If series. We're going to break it all down in just a moment, but in order to do so, we need to spoil what happens in the newest episode. So, if you haven't seen it yet, leave now before things get well and truly weird.
Release the foam.
The episode begins with a familiar sight, Dr. Jane Foster's van in Puente Antiguo, New Mexico, where she and Darcy are tracking atmospheric disturbances in a quest to find alien life, just like in 2011's Thor. Conspicuously absent is Dr. Eric Selvig, although Darcy is the first to notice what's going on once again.
It's beeping! It's doing the beeping!
Unfortunately, Jane's attempts to contact S.H.I.E.L.D. go unanswered, and the Parks Department is about as helpful as Hawkeye's barber after the snap. We do get a nice reference to the iconic "They're here" line from Poltergeist as the Asgardians streak past Darcy and Jane in the night sky.
They're here!
Rather than hitting Thor with their car, this time Thor hits the Las Vegas Strip alongside Lady Sif and the Warriors 3, kicking off the central conflict of the episode and spooking a local Elvis impersonator.
Holy moly!
Quick note, we also see a man wearing a familiar-looking pineapple shirt, which could be a reference to Taika Waititi's infamous pineapple-themed outfit from San Diego Comic-Con 2017 to promote Thor Ragnarok. As we learn, Thor's moral development in the absence of his troublesome half-brother Loki is stunted, to say the least. Without moments from Thor and Loki's youth, like Loki using the Casket of Ancient Winters to cause mischief, Thor never had the foil he so desperately needed. He grows into a callow, selfish adult, concerned more with drinking and carousing than with learning what it means to become a worthy ruler. So when Odin enters Odin's sleep to recharge his magical all-daddy energy like we saw in Thor, the god of thunder decides to become the god of thunder by taking a trip to Midgard while his mom Frigga goes on a girls' trip of her own. Despite Heimdall being tasked with watching him with his all-seeing eyes, Thor is undeterred. He walks through Odin's vault past the Infinity Gauntlet, which, as we learned in Thor Ragnarok, is actually a fake. We also get a nice visual homage to Thor's iconic "another" moment from the original movie when he spikes his beer mug.
Another party on Midgard!
Debauchery immediately breaks out in Las Vegas as the Warriors 3 start drinking with Ravagers from the Guardians of the Galaxy, characters from Sakaar and Thor Ragnarok, and someone who may or may not be Taika Waititi himself. Scourge arrives on the scene and Thor gives him a drink, referencing his never-ending magic pint glass from the Sanctum Sanctorum in Thor Ragnarok.
It never runs out. You try to drink it all, but you can't because it's magic.
Like many house parties, this one gets out of control really quick when word gets out and spaceships from all over the Nine Realms have arrived to drop off guests who want to drink with the party prince. When Jane Foster and Darcy arrive on the scene, they find Thor goofing around with a not-so-secret invasion of Skrulls. Thor is making them shapeshift to look just like him. We also get a cameo from Howard the Duck, who is traded in palling around with T'Challa for negging Darcy.
Big talk coming from a brunette.
Next up, we get the Grandmaster and his trusty right-hand woman, Topaz, munching on some street cake. Topaz is also holding the melt stick from Thor Ragnarok, which was previously used to pardon Carlo from life.
From life.
Then, while Jane tries to interrogate Thor about how his partying destroyed Alpha Star Icarus, we get a twist on another Thor line, which itself is paraphrasing Arthur C. Clarke's third law. Any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. In 2011's Thor, we had this.
Your ancestors called it magic, and you call it science. Well, I come from a place where they're one and the same thing.
But here, we have Thor losing his mind over a tablet and a pair of matching tattoos, which we'll see in a moment. What follows is absolutely buck wild. The Grandmaster DJing a foam party similar to his DJ rig from Ragnarok. Nebula playing craps with Korg to win enough money for a new cybernetic eye. Volstagg riding a water-powered jetpack while Drax, Valkyrie, and Sif cheer him on. An Elvis impersonator with a Love Me Tender book marrying Darcy and Howard the Duck. Was this a reference to the Howard the Duck movie? I'm gonna leave it up to you. And Jane and Thor getting complimentary magic and science tattoos, another reference to the Clark's Third Law line from Thor before they all pass out in a hotel room. What a party. Fandral is asleep in a bathtub full of baby goats, a reference to the goat named Gary he allegedly met on Alpha Icarus. Who knows? Maybe this is the MCU's origin for the goats that pull Thor's chariot in Norse mythology, called Tooth Gnasher and Tooth Grinder. Everyone, including Rocket Raccoon in the bathroom sink, is deeply hungover and fast asleep, which is good news considering Thor mistakes him for a rabbit, again, like in Avengers Infinity War.
Guys, look, there's a cute little rabbit in the sink.
Unfortunately, their slumber is cut short when current S.H.I.E.L.D. agent and secret Hydra asset Brock Rumlow knocks at their door. Maria Hill explains that she is now acting director of S.H.I.E.L.D. because Korg accidentally sent Nick Fury blasting off like Team Rocket while doing ball cannons. Before getting yeeted into the stratosphere, Fury called Thor Spicoli, a reference to Sean Penn's infamous stoner character from Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Aboard the S.H.I.E.L.D. helicarrier over Vegas, Agent Coulson warns that a party fever seems to be spreading all over the planet. Deciding to call in the big guns, Maria Hill takes out Nick Fury's special beeper from the end of Avengers Infinity War in order to summon Captain Marvel back to Earth. Meanwhile, in Paris, Thor is busy taking selfies with Aisha and another member of the Golden Sovereign people who you may recall from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Then Loki, in full frost giant form wearing a horned helmet made of ice, arrives on the scene with his ice bros. Things seem tense for a moment, but Thor and Loki are actually really good friends when you divorce them from the years of brotherly baggage in the MCU.
Loki, you are the absolute best!
You're my brother from another mother, man. I mean that.
Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, arrives on the scene with a boom and immediately dunks on Thor by referring to him as 80s hair metal band Whitesnake. Thor and Carol wind up fighting all over the planet. The episode goes full Looney Tunes because you can see the names of the countries from space as the God of Thunder pummels Carol into Stonehenge, then knocks it down with a single boop. Captain Marvel responds in kind by punching Thor into Monument Valley, Arizona, and in classic what-if fashion, the fight essentially ends in a stalemate until Thor puts Mjolnir on Carol's chest to put her in timeout, similar to what he did to Loki in 2011's Thor. Over Thor's shoulder, we can see one of the Grandmaster's guards from Thor Ragnarok, looking like a cross between a Celestial and a big bad Beetleborg. The guard, some Skrulls, a Sakaran gladiator, and other Sakarans proceed to mock Carol for being a party pooper. Moving on, back on the helicarrier, we get a reference to Carol's Top Gun referencing pet cat Goose, who we know is actually an alien Flurkin in disguise. Darcy is a big fan. I mean, who isn't? And her line about how thinking Carol was going to be a dude captain is a nice nod to the original male Captain Marvel, Marvel, in the comics from whom Carol Danvers inherited her mantle. While Jane and Darcy try to figure out how to contact Frigga, things get way out of hand on Earth. The Ice Bros turn the London Eye Ferris wheel into the next Hadron Collider. The fire demon Surtur tries to hit on the Statue of Liberty. The Ice Bros redecorate Mount Rushmore, and Thor leads a bridge rave in Sydney attended by Asgardian soldiers, the yellow-skinned alien woman from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, a pacifier-sucking Korg, Mantis from the Guardians of the Galaxy, Meek, Valkyrie, and random citizens of Sakaar. Meanwhile, Jane and Darcy crack the code on contacting Norse gods with an assist from an unseen and unheard Dr. Eric Selvig. Thankfully, before S.H.I.E.L.D. can nuke Carol, Thor, and that poor polar bear, Frigga intervenes using dark magic, which is a reference to when Odin used dark energy in the first Avengers movie to send Thor to Earth, which leaves the Prince of Partying to frantically clean up his mess before Frigga arrives. Between Loki turning the St. Louis Arch, St. Louis?
Is it Louis? Anyway.
Into a slingshot, and Drax vomiting his body weight in booze, they have their work cut out for them. Suffice to say, Drax, Yondu, and that weird mask-wearing prisoner from Sakaar are none too pleased about needing to help Thor clean up. And to make matters worse, the Grandmaster and Topaz are keeping the scoot-scoots.
We're keeping the scoot-scoots.
Guys, please!
After invoking the collective fear of his mother's wrath, Thor and the gang slowly put the world back together, even rebuilding Stonehenge and fixing the Leaning Tower of Pisa's iconic italics. That's a font joke. By the time she arrives, Thor has done a pretty convincing job covering his tracks.
Did you know that Midgard is the birthplace of the Snuggie?
And Carol even helps Thor with his cover story by giving him a tablet full of that good stuff.
And I loaded a few documentaries, PBS specials, NPR podcasts.
Unfortunately, he neglected to clean up Mjolnir, which never stopped partying for even 1 second, but nobody's perfect. At the end of the episode, Thor makes plans to take Jane Foster on a proper date to Planet Unicorn, which is a deep-cut reference to something from Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel's fan fiction in the comics. While it seems like everything is ending on a positive note for a change, the episode ends with a group of Ultron drones stepping through a portal. They're led by a modified version of Ultron with all 6 Infinity Stones embedded into his vibranium body. The biggest twist? His faceplate pops up, revealing that this version of Robot California is actually a nightmarish version of the Vision instead. After all, what is what if not plot twists persevering?
Sorry, pardon?
No, it was funny.
Don't worry though, based on previous trailers for What If, it seems as though we can expect characters like Captain Carter and evil Doctor Strange to team up, as well as Gamora, T'Challa, Thor, and Killmonger. As we have speculated previously, those Ultron bots seem like the multiverse-ending threat that could cause the Watcher to become the Assembler and task this group of disparate heroes with saving the day in their world and every other world while they're at it. Of course, as with anything, only time will tell. In the meantime, though, tell us, what did you think of What If Episode 7? Did you spot anything that we missed? Which Marvel character would you most like to party with? I'm gonna say Howard the Duck, honestly.
That's happy hour. Want some half-price nachos?
Okay, fine, Duck.
Let us know in the comments below, and for the latest and greatest in the world of pop culture, always stay tuned to Nerdist.com.